Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Hello. I'm not sure what happened to Gwen, but she'll be right back. But welcome to Black Authors Matter TV. There you are, Gwen. What happened?
I forgot my cell phone.
I was like, okay, it's quiet. But hi, everybody. Welcome to Black Authors Matter TV. And we are your co-hosts. Let's first introduce.
Okay, I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for tonight, along with my co-host,
Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Good evening, everyone.
So welcome to the show, and we are going to have another amazing night once again. We have a great lineup tonight, and I'm wearing one of our new t-shirts, so I wanted to show you if y'all can see it.
Okay.
It says Queens of Romance. And then there's a little heart on there. And the names around in the circle are people that you all know, Jacqueline Thomas, Beverly Jenkins, Brenda Jackson, Donna Hill, and it has their first name and their last initial, and then the hearts, and then Rochelle Allers. So
it's a beautiful t-shirt.
Yeah, we're producing 5 new literary t-shirts for the year, and we'll be rolling them out a little bit one at a time. And all of them are going to be available at cushcity.com, and they're all going to be the same price, but they all have different themes. And we thought to add to the Black Authors Matter t-shirt, we wanted to expand the literary selection that you all get. So as we roll them out, I'll wear them so you can see them. And Mama Tony Benita in Florida, she ordered 3 of these. So hopefully she got her package.
Okay. Mama Tony is on it.
Yeah, she ordered 3 of them. So hopefully, I don't know if she'll be on tonight or not. She normally is on every week. But we have a great lineup of guests, and Rhonda is the host tonight on the Zoom. So she knows when people sign on and all that. So I'm playing her backup. I'll do more of the checking. I'll do some of the checking and things like that. We change it up every now and then. So, but welcome to the show. And is our first guest, is he ready? No. Okay. Well, since he's not on, we will talk about your upcoming literary event that you're having in a couple of weeks. Oh, I think you muted yourself.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go. I've been having problems with mute all day at work too. I mean, I was on mute when I didn't know I was on mute, and then when I was off mute, I was talking, and it was terrible today. I don't know what was going on.
It's one of those days. I'll tell you, I had a similar day, so maybe something in the atmosphere. I don't know. But
right. But the Black History Month Literary Weekend is fast approaching. If you are in the DMV area, we would love to have you there. It's going to be a weekend full of literary celebration. It's going to be a weekend of inspiration and networking, and I cannot wait for it. I'm here for all of it. So Thursday the 22nd, we're going to have Coffee with an Author with all 10 of the authors who are going to be featured throughout the weekend. And that's going to take place at PJ's Coffee House in Bowie, Maryland. Now the coffee house is called PJ's Coffee of New Orleans. That's only because the brand started in New Orleans, but the owners, a Black couple here in Maryland, actually decided to purchase a franchise, and they started PJ's Coffee here in Maryland. So first of all, kudos to them for going into a locally owned establishment, loving what they saw, and said, I want to bring this back home. And so that's what they did. So they now have 2 locations here in Maryland, one in Bowie and the other one is in Silver Spring. And I've been to both locations, but the Coffee with an Author event on the 22nd is going to be in Bowie at the coffee house at the PJ's Coffee House in Bowie. And on the 23rd, we're going to have a meet and greet with the authors at Barnes and Noble, also in Bowie, Maryland. It's going to be in the Bowie Town Center. And there we're going to do a chat and sign. So the authors are going to chat, answer questions, just talk about the literary industry as a whole. That's going to take place from 4 to 4:45. And then after that, they're going to scatter throughout the store. And it's going to be kind of like a mall where you can go to each section. If you want children's books, you can go to the children's book section. If you want self-help, go there. If you want fiction, you can go there. But you can actually have different stations throughout the store where you can meet the authors and get your book signed. So that's going to take place on the 23rd. Now, the great part is prior to us going to Barnes and Noble, we are going to be visiting local schools in the area. And so local students are going to have access to these authors where they can ask questions, they can take pictures, they can learn all about the literary industry. And to me, that's one of the best parts about the literary weekend, is that we actually get to directly impact our youth. And then on the 24th, that is our culminating event. We're going to have the 8th annual Ivory and Cream Affair. So that is an absolutely beautiful event. Everybody comes wearing their best ivory or cream outfits. We're going to have a live band. We're going to have a fashion show. New York, he's from New Orleans, but he lives in New York. So he's a New New Orleans fashion designer, Alfred Tumblin. He's actually traveling in, and he is going to showcase some of his fashions. He does wearable couture. And so we actually have some volunteer models who are going to be modeling the clothes for him. And I can't wait. He's actually a former Black History Month Literary Weekend author. The first time he participated, he participated as an author. So now he's coming back and he's going to be showing his designs. So not only that, we're also doing the 8th and 9th grade essay contest, where we're going to be awarding the winners at the brunch. And Gwen, thank you so very much for donating your awesome scholarship books to the winners. So each winner is going to receive a cash award. They're going to receive the book, and they're going to be able to read their essay at the brunch. And often, as soon as they read their essay, they get blessed even more by the people who are there. So that's going to be another thing. Like I said, we're directly impacting our youth. So if you are in the DMV area, please make sure you attend this event. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. And you know what's funny? We have VIP options, and the VIP options are selling faster than
the regular
edition. Yeah.
I've heard that's the case. So I'm thinking about doing some kind of VIP thing for the festival.
You should.
I've heard that other people have told me that.
Yes.
When they have a VIP package, that those go faster. And you would think it's kind of counterintuitive because they cost more, but sometimes people want the extras,
Yeah, they want the extras. They want to feel special.
Right.
And then all of sometimes they like the perks that come along with being VIP. So we've been selling a number of VIP tickets, and I'm really looking forward to it. And you always know when you have a great event when people you don't know are purchasing tickets. It's not a bunch of your friends and family. When people you don't know are purchasing your tickets, you're doing something right. So I'm really excited about this event. If you're in the DMV area, we would love for you to attend. And yes, I will put the link in the chat for anybody who would like more information.
Okay, well, great. And Rhonda's event is always really, really good. And I am happy that I'm able to contribute to the college-bound students and helping them be debt-free or as close to it as possible.
Absolutely.
So since it's our first guest on yet?
No.
Okay. So I wanted to share some things about the book festival coming up so that people will know what to expect from that. And so the event is October 17th through the 19th. It's always in Houston. And we are we are about 20% ahead of where we were last year in terms of registrations. So people are really signing up early this year. And you really put something on my mind about that whole VIP thing. I'm going to talk to you about conceptualizing
Yes.
what that would entail at the festival. Then we can do some stuff. I know that's going to be great. I'm going to do that. We're going to get together, Rhonda, you and I, after off camera and talk about that. But we've confirmed 3 of our featured authors, and they are Rashonda Tate. She goes by Rashonda Tate now instead of Billingsley, and because she's remarried, and so she just dropped the married name altogether. So she goes by Rashonda Tate. As a matter of fact, this is her new book. Is getting off to a great start. She just got endorsed by Kwame Alexander on Good Morning America as a book to read for Black History Month, The Queen of Sugar Hill. And it's a novel about Hattie McDaniel, the actress. So Rashonda will be on the show next week to talk about her book. So she's going to actually be the first guest next Tuesday night to talk about her book. So she's going to be the featured author, one of them at the festival. Then another featured author that we have is Vanessa Miller, and these are confirmed. And Vanessa's book, The African Queen, is also getting really some great pub and endorsements all over. It's on all kinds of lists.
I can't turn on Instagram without seeing something about this book.
Right. So she's going to be at the festival this year. And she does an event in Charlotte called the Christian Book Lovers Retreat. And sometimes it coincides with the same weekend with the festival. But this year it doesn't. She moved hers up earlier in October, and so is ours. So hers is the first weekend in October. So she was able to accept the invitation to be there because I think she's put 3 books out in the last year. She's really doing some book releases. So those are 2 books that I got in. Also, I got in these 2 books. And this author, Tracy Clark, I became aware of her, just seeing stuff. And I got both of her books. I bought them myself. I ordered them. And she's on the show tonight. She's at the 8:00 slot, Tracy Clark. So this book is called High, and this book is called Fall. So
Larry, I'm trying to see what's going on.
Oh, okay. She's talking to our first guest to find out where he is because his time is running out. So anyway, Tracy Clark will be on, and her covers look really, really good. Whoever did her covers, it's really like a 3D effect. But she does crime fiction, and so I wanted to see if I would like her book. So I got them both, and she has another one coming out soon too. So she's going to talk about that. So, and the other featured author at the festival is going to be Quan. He's an urban fiction legend, and he's been to the festival several times, but he's coming back for this year. And we expect to have 3 more. We're waiting on responses and working on 3 more featured authors. So this year's event is going to be fantastic. And we have the book to film seminar back again that Entice is doing, but this time she's going to do it on Saturday because she wanted to do it when more people could come. And so she's doing that book to film seminar on Saturday. We have a seminar on how to improve your social media influence. We had that one in the past. It's going to be back. Mary Evans is doing that one. She's one of the festival managers. So we are and then we have a seminar on monetizing how to be a 6-figure author by Melanie Bonita, who was on the show last week. And she was giving tips on how to monetize your social media presence and increase your revenue with your book. So she is doing a seminar on Saturday as well. So also the people who, Tony Bonita said the author, Tracy Clark, was new to her. And Tony, I hope you got your t-shirts. Put in the comments if you received your t-shirts. I'm wearing it tonight. and I'm going to show it again for the people who weren't on it first. We have a line of 5 new t-shirts we're going to be producing, and this is one of them, and this one is Queens of Romance, and in the circle around are the names Beverly Jenkins. Well, it's a first name, last initial. Beverly Jenkins, Brenda Jackson, Jacqueline Thomas, Donna Hill, and Rochelle Allers. And this is not to exclude anyone else in our thoughts. We just couldn't get everybody's name on the t-shirt. So we decided to do the ones who sell the most books, which, I mean, Donna, they have 100 books. and they have been around forever. So we're going to be doing, all the t-shirts we're doing have authors' names on them, but they're different themes, they're different thematics. So in addition to the Black Authors Matter t-shirts, which every guest of the show gets one of those. But these are on our website, and we'll have them all at the festival. So if you want to get your merch there, you can do that too. And for our VIP, we'll include 1 or 2 t-shirts in that VIP package that they can select themselves. So we're going to do that. And okay, so Tony said her package is being delivered tomorrow. She got the track on. Wonderful. So what did Larry say? Larry, it's time for his interview.
I think Larry got the time mixed up, and he was thinking 7 o'clock Pacific time.
Oh, he's in California.
Yes, he's in California. So he said he'd be home in a couple of minutes, and he'll just do the last 10 minutes of the interview.
Okay. Yeah, I send that to people because the time of the show is central, and probably more people are on the East Coast than anywhere else. But we started it on Central, so we just keep, when we first started the show, it was on Central Time, so we keep it on Central.
Hair in my face.
Yeah, I hate when your hair is misplaced on here because it's a mirror effect.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know which way to go.
It's funny. So, the Black Authors Matter Children's Book Awards process has already started. So, and we've had great responses to that. If you have a children's book that was the copyright has to be 2023 or 2024. So it has to be a new book because we want to highlight new books. And the books that are coming in are really, really nice books.
I love looking at the books that come in for this contest because they're always so beautifully done. I love it when an author treats their art like actual art, and they're not just half stepping. And you can tell that the authors who participate in this contest are going full force with it. I mean, the stories are beautiful, the illustrations are beautiful, they're well bound. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, they are. And they just don't get the recognition that they should. So that's the reason why we do the Black Authors Matter Children's Book Awards, because only a handful of people, Black authors, in an average year get major recognition. And it's a handful. So, so there are more people doing major things. And, a lot of the contests or awards processes really are not considering self-published books at all. And the self-published books are very, very nice. I mean, there are some that are average. There are many that are well above average.
Right.
So they deserve the recognition. So that's what we do. And when we go through the judging process, if there's a lot in a particular category, it's challenging determining which ones should rise to the top. But what we do is we have a point system, and we normally have 6 judges. So each person gives a book a certain amount of points from 1 to 5, and then we add up the scores to determine who the finalists are going to be. So it makes it fair. Sometimes, like something that I might think is, should be in the finalists, it doesn't make it because it's based on the points of all the judges.
Right.
And so it makes it fair and objective, and there's no favoritism. There's no, if you have worked for or manager for the festival or Kush City, your books are not eligible. So we make it totally fair, and we really enjoy doing it.
Yeah, I do the same thing with my essay contest. I don't want to be the person to judge the essays, because sometimes I have friends who want to enter their kids. And so I don't want to have anything to do with the process. So normally I get an outside panel of judges to read the essay, just to make sure that everything stays fair and above board.
Well, and that's a good policy. Now, I am one of the judges, but I'm one of 6. So my
Right.
vote doesn't carry any more weight than anyone else's. It's a totally fair process. And sometimes I'll say, well, I think this one should win. And then they'll say, well, no, Gwen, this shouldn't. So they're not shy about telling me that, it's about the group. It's about the group of judges. So
Right, right.
sometimes I have my favorites, but it has to be fair. It has to be fair. And we really enjoy doing it. So
And
besides,
Larry's still not here.
Larry's still not there. Okay. So we didn't plan in advance that we would need to fill up the first half hour, but we were able to get some information to the audience about things that are coming up. And I'm trying to think of anything else coming up that I need to make people aware of. I normally have notes about these things. No, I covered everything. The festival, the new t-shirt line. If you want to get one of the t-shirts, go to kushcity.com, which is our parent company, CUSHCITY, and you'll see them right at the very top. The new, we're calling them lit apparel for literature. And so we're excited about the line of t-shirts. Oh, this is something I wanted to announce. I meant to do it last week. The NAACP Image Award nominees were announced
Yes.
about a week ago. And there were 4 of them that were guests on the show. So I wanted to name them. The one was Tanisha Ford, and she was on the show a couple of weeks ago with her book. What was it about? The Secret Society, Our Secret Society, I think was the name of it. And
Still in my face.
she was nominated. And Sadiqa Johnson for the House of Eve.
Yes, that was a good one.
Rhonda and I both said were one of our favorite books for the year for 2023. Her book was nominated. And Joel Christian Gill, he co-wrote a book with Ibram Kendi. I forgot the title of the book, but Ibram X Kendi. He wrote a book with him. He co-wrote a book, and he was on the show earlier in the year. And then more recently, Corita Brown and Charlie Palmer were on the show for they were a couple, and they wrote the book, the New Brownies book. And in the course of writing the book, which I thought was so sweet, in the course of the research, they ended up getting married. So they were actually a couple, and they were nominated for their book. So those were congratulations to all the nominees, including that one. Now, why is my green screen doing the thing again? Anyway, I thought I had resolved it. I thought I had fixed it.
Okay. I thought that was Larry. That's the next guest.
Well, there's no problem with us getting started a little early because Larry hasn't arrived. So let's bring on. See, I already held up. Oh,
he just showed up.
Okay, he did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let him say hi. He got a few minutes.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello, Miss
Dayirai.
Kapfunde.
Yes.
Okay, because she put the pronunciation behind her name so we can make sure we said it correctly.
Oh, okay, Dayirai. We would have we were nowhere near that at all. Nowhere near. So we said we're gonna call her Miss Kapfunde. Now, am I saying that right?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yes, you
All
are.
right.
It's okay. I'm used to this name and I have been called so many things. So
No, the good part is when you tell people the correct pronunciation of your name, they should use the correct pronunciation.
correct. Yes.
And it helps that you have the phonetic spelling there. That's very helpful.
It beats being called diarrhea, so
Diarrhea.
yes, yes.
Well, I understand because I have my real name, my whole name is Guinevere. And when people see it, they don't know. To me, it spells like it sounds. It's the spelling and the sound is the same. But people look at it and they don't know what to do. So I just tell them, Gwen, just go with Gwen. You can't go wrong with that.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay. So were you going to let Larry pop in or no?
I was just going to ask, you want to go ahead and let Larry pop in so he can say hi really quickly?
Yes.
Okay.
We have our previous guest, missed his slot. So we're just going to let him say hi and then we're going to get right into the interview.
Okay, perfect.
Mr. Larry, are you there? Mr. Larry. Okay, I don't even see a camera or a microphone next to his name.
Oh. Okay, well,
yeah,
I would say we'll have to revisit this.
Yes, we will revisit
in the future. And I may need to do an advanced text check thing just to make sure. Okay, well,
Well,
Dayirai.
welcome to the show,
Welcome
Dayirai.
to Black Office Matter TV. Dayirai. So is it Dayirai? Okay, where's the accent?
Okay, so the actual pronunciation of my name is Dayirai. So the D sound is a quiet, a soft D. It's a Shona name originating in Zimbabwe. So
Okay.
Dayirai, yes.
Okay, all right. Dayirai.
Mhm.
Now, does it have a meaning? Because I know a lot of names have meanings.
Oh, goodness. I always say as a caveat that, it somehow gets lost in translation. However, a very loose translation would be God's answer.
Oh, okay, wow. Well, that's a lot of pressure.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean,
that makes you definitely not a
you have to live just right.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a name. Trying to live up to that name has to be difficult.
Yes.
Well,
So,
I think it kind of fits your book though, because the name of your book is what? Living Life Authentically. Did I say it correctly?
Living my life authentically.
Yes.
Yes.
and you're coming to us through BK Royston Publishing, and they are a friend of the show. So we periodically have their authors that are published under their umbrella on the show.
Thank you.
So how long have you been in the States?
Actually, I'm not in the States. I am in Canada.
Oh, wow. Which part?
I'm in Edmonton, Alberta.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Okay, so you live in Canada?
I live in Canada.
Okay.
I did connect with Dr. Royston and was able to work with her to get published.
Okay. Now, do you have a copy of your book with you?
I do.
Okay, living
my
life authentically. So, is your book a testament to your life, or are you telling people how they can live their lives authentic?
Oh my goodness, I don't tell people what to do. I am a clinical social worker by profession, so it's very drawn in me that we do not tell people what to do. People have to have their own agency. So the best way I could speak to this is I have a 22-year-old son who just happened to become an adult during COVID lockdown. So went off to school during that time, and there wasn't that whole shepherding that we normally do when the world is all right. So what happened was there was a time he called and he's like, Mom, can you please write something down for me about how to keep the house clean? I'm struggling to keep the house clean. So between going to school and working and now being an adult and being out by himself for the first time, despite having been brought up in an environment where he was shown and taught and encouraged and given these skills, somehow being out on his own for the first time just happened to be a little bit more overwhelming. So talking to him and working with him through this, and as a mental health therapist, which is what I do, it was just something that then came to me about our children when they're living home, around about that age group. And we're setting them free. Go to school, go do all these things, go leave. The government tells you that you're 18 and you're an adult now, so you can go and live life as an adult. And what skills do they have? Does it help to have something that is written down, perhaps that just walks them through a full day? When I wake up and check in with myself on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being feeling good, where am I at? Because if I say I'm at a 3, already I'm waking up emotionally compromised, versus if I said I was a 7 or an 8. One is the weight of the world on your shoulders. The other is feeling like you're on top of the world. So what do you do to ground yourself? How do you prepare yourself? And as you're preparing yourself emotionally and mentally, what are you also doing around your environment to help you, feel a little bit more in control? So this is more just step by step. Get up, brush your teeth. What happens if you just wipe the, sink after you've brushed your teeth? If you take a bath, perhaps you could do this, wipe it down, spray, pick up your clothes, make your bed. What are small little things that we sometimes find difficult to do, especially during lockdown? And for people that were struggling perhaps with depression or some mental health issues more compounded by COVID and the lockdown and the isolation. So how can you have step-by-step instruction of just things that you could do around the house and that would help you take care of your environment whilst you're also taking care of yourself?
So would you consider your book more of a workbook? I mean, because you provide a lot of tools. So are there practical exercises on how you can use those tools?
Yes, it is actually a workbook. And yes, so it does give you those it's really very practical the way I set it out, because I was at the back of my mind thinking of this child of mine who seemed to have lost all his skills the moment he left home, and needing that reassurance and that support to figure himself out.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that the real impact on the human impact, not in terms of the disease itself or in terms of people who caught COVID,
Yes.
but the mental effects, the developmental effects. It may be something that people have to look back on 10 years from now or 20 years from now to really understand the impact. Because, for example, for seniors, if people were already, if when you're an elderly person, if you don't get out, then your decline can be faster, because we all decline a little bit as we age. But the people who were elderly and locked down for month after month after month, I'm sure there's some people who declined that would not have, because they couldn't interact with other people. So this is something that we're going to be living with for a long time. I don't think we really will understand the impact. People are talking about the impact on children and how they lost 2 years of learning that they'll never get back. You know, if you're a kindergartner and you miss K through 2, then you're starting in 3rd grade. You really are still in kindergarten in terms of your knowledge.
Right, right.
And
So,
socially, just it's
yes, socially.
there's
Wow.
so many aspects. We heard of increased domestic violence because families that were or predisposed already to violence having to be under the same roof
24/7.
down 24/7, the impact on the children, the impact on the adults, it's
Yeah.
you're right that we won't get a full picture of what the impact was until years down the road. Sadly, the more research they get or they do or they conduct will probably lead us into figuring this out a little bit more. But that was a scary time for sure.
Yes.
Yes, scary all the way around, just as you said, mentally, physically, spiritually.
Yes. So you said you are a social worker by
I am,
profession.
yes.
So do you have a specialty?
Goodness. No, I'm in mental health therapy. I have a private practice that I operate, and I provide mental health therapy to individuals, adults, children. And I'm also now in school, so I'm in my first year doctoral studies in public health.
Oh, congratulations.
Promotion. So
that's a huge step.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Oh my goodness, I love your smile.
Thank you.
So tell us how your take on, as a social worker, on people that you're seeing now. What are some of the patterns that you're seeing in terms of what needs people have?
Goodness. The majority of clients that I'm working with right now, sadly through third-party contracts, it's totally, completely different reality, because able-bodied to automatically, an accident happens at work and your life literally changes just like that. So workers' comp in the course of their work, and you have different you have people that are at different stages in terms of acceptance of where they are at, so the current reality. We live in a society where we are literally socialized to go to school. We're talking about JK, so kindergarten, you go to school, you in high school or junior school, you're already having people engaging in conversations about what do you want to be when you grow up? What are you going to do? So what do you want to be and what are you going to do? So we're socialized to become adults that contribute to society, to work. And they are people that started working as teenagers and have been working for 30, 40 years, and do not know anything other than getting up and going to work. And what happens when somebody like that has an accident that literally takes them off work and they don't recover enough to be able to continue working anymore? And now all of a sudden you're having to learn to rely on those around you, ask for help, but most importantly, to understand that work is not the sum total of who you are, even though it had been the sum total of who you were. So literally trying to shift your identity from being so attached to my employer, I gave them 30 years of my life. How come they're not valuing me anymore? This accident was not my, my fault, but how could they let me go? How can they treat me like this? I thought, me being loyal meant that I would then be treated the same. So a lot of concern or worry or confusion when it comes to who we are outside of the jobs that we do and how that fits within our whole well-being. I mean, it's very important too, because we also have to go to work so that we can keep a roof over our head and food on the table and, clothes on our back. So if we're living in a world where we all, practically most of us, are living paycheck to paycheck, anything that interrupts that is bound to cause some emotional distress, because we all panic and worry. So you're going to have depressive symptoms, anxiety, quite a lot of emotional distress, because life is not within a locus of control at that point in time. And there is that uncertainty about the future. What will happen next? Why am I not recovering well enough? What's going on? And then navigating a system that is not meant to be, navigating a system that is, a system. It's there.
It kind of puts pressure on us to feel like we have to have it all together by a certain time. We're all living on the same clock. We have to have the perfect job, the perfect spouse. We have to have 2.5 kids, and we have to do this all by a certain time, or else we're a failure.
Exactly.
And so then when something like COVID-19 happens, that just kind of knocks that timeline off. Now we think we're behind, or we've lost that sense of accomplishment.
Yeah. And whose timeline are we, like, honestly, I don't understand what that pressure is. And then when you look at our children, you can look at someone in JK, elementary school. Is it the societal narratives that kind of pushes us into that, where I don't know, but it's a lot of pressure, and it's hard to get people to take a step back and separate themselves and look at their well-being as, all those domains, my physical well-being, my mental, my vocational, my spiritual, my financial, my relational. And if the vocational is impacted, yes, it's going to impact my finances, and most of the time it will impact everything else too. It just trickles, it's a ripple effect. So how do we step back?
You think social media has a big piece to do with that?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I think that starts to determine that clock. Because nobody posts their failures. They only post their wins, or what they want you to feel like is a win. So now you
they
feel like
post
you
other
have
people's failures, which which I don't. But people don't normally post their own failures.
Right.
They talk about other people's failures. And
Right.
Mary says she sees the impact now. She's one of our regular viewers, and she says she teaches math to sixth graders who were in lockdown as third graders, and many don't know how to do their operations. They don't, because you learn the foundational things about just about every subject, well, especially English, reading, and math. the foundational information is what you need to go to the next level. And if you don't master that, then you're sort of lost unless you get a tutor or something to help bring you up to speed. And there are not enough tutors to cover all the kids that were in lockdown for
Right.
all, the years of COVID.
I
So,
don't envy teachers. I really don't.
Mhm. You do. Well, I envy their commitment because they have to have dedication to
Yes.
children to be in the profession, especially today. So now we hear a lot about Canadian healthcare, and you're in Canada. So what does Canada cover disability and workman's comp and things like that with the healthcare system? Or are those two functions still based on the company that people work for?
So provincial healthcare takes care of the basic needs. Like I can go to the hospital and get
Okay.
looked after by a doctor. And then you have to have insurance for all the other extra if things start becoming a little bit more special, or else you will wait. So if you need an MRI, some people are telling you that they're waiting perhaps 6 months, 8 months, a year before they can get in. But if somebody has money to pay up front, they might be able to get in and get the MRI done privately, a lot quicker. So money literally talks everywhere.
Everywhere.
So with workers' comp, yes, it's an insurance as well. So they're covered by the insurance based on whatever insurance would have been paid into by the employers for work or towards workers' comp. But again, it ends up being murky depending on if you got injured at work, but you already were perhaps struggling with depression or struggling with something else. Workers' comp would say, yeah, we'll we'll pay for what has happened with the accident. We're not necessarily taking care of what was happening before, because that's got nothing to do with the injury. And I think that's one of the frustrating pieces for me, because I always look at it as I'm dealing with one person, and that person is struggling, navigating life with, migraine headaches, whether they were there before the accident, but they're more compounded now because of the work injury. So we can't ignore them and just deal with, well, they have a broken, finger. So we focus only on the finger, because a person is one full human being, and you can't divide them into pieces, at least in my head. You can't. So it's not bad. I'm trying to be very careful about what I say, because I don't know how far this thing is going to go and who's going to hear me talking. So I need to be careful. So it's
And we understand that.
safe.
Okay. I just wondered if the system, what the healthcare system covered in Canada, because we hear a lot about the Canadian system.
It's definitely, like, what I've heard is it's definitely much better than where you ladies are, like the States. So I wouldn't complain, because, like I said, if I needed to go to the hospital, I would go to the hospital. Yes, I might call an ambulance and have to pay out of pocket for, the ambulance ride, but there's certain things that I know I'm definitely guaranteed I can get looked after. But like everywhere else, a lot of things look good on paper. It's when you start.
It's in practice where it's murky.
Yeah.
There's some uncertainty there. So, Rhonda, did you have any questions? Because I was going to ask her about her book for the final.
No, I was actually going to go back to the book as well.
Okay.
So I know we talked a bit about the book, and you said it's it's a workbook, and it provides a lot of tools. I'm wondering, how you plan to build your platform? How have you gone out? Have you been doing speaking engagements with it? Are you going to visit with schools or programs? What are you doing to get your book out there?
Oh my goodness. So Dr. Royston was kind enough to actually get me published, and I got 4 books published at the same time. So it wasn't just the one. And I tend to shy away and hide away a little bit. So I'm not really good at this. Even what we're doing right now.
You're doing great.
I know you're saying you're not good at this, but you communicate this so well that I can tell that you're intimately involved and you understand the plight of the people that you work with. So I believe that just some practice, just speaking and just building up your confidence, you'd probably do very well in this.
Thank you. Social media scares me so much.
Well,
So
I'll tell you what you should do. Start forcing yourself to go live, even if it's only for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Because if you're going live on your personal page, then you're going live with people who are your friends and family, people who love you. So build up your confidence with people who care about you, because they're not going to be mean to you. They're not going to hang up on you. They're not going to say boo and all that. So you get to talk about those subjects that mean the most to you. Maybe only do it for 2 or 3 minutes, and then when you start to feel more comfortable, move it to 3 to 5 minutes, and then go on a little bit more. Don't go past about 10, 15 minutes. They don't want to hear us that long. But I mean, you do that, it'll build up your confidence, and then pretty soon you'll be more confident to go out there and do speaking engagements, in the public arena. And you have the perfect book that people need to hear. You have the perfect subject matter that people need to hear. So that's just my 2 cents, but I think you should go for it.
Well,
thank you.
also, I'll add my 2 cents, and that is that what you really come across, what really is conveyed, is your sincerity.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's, people can see that. And when you said living your life authentically, that's part of it. People can see that you are authentically sincere. So people respect that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate Dr. Royston so much. So I have I had a book signing with Indigo um sometime last year, and that was almost like quite an experience too, because if I had had it my way, I probably would have been very quiet and just sit in a corner, at a desk and not told anybody about it. But I have quite strong women behind me who were like, nope, this is not what we're doing, this is how we're doing this. And it was such an amazing turnout and an amazing event. So I am looking for ways that I could get the books out there a little bit more, because they really, they came out of a need that I saw. I actually had someone who purchased the books at the book signing text me today with one of the pages open of this Living My Life Authentically, and he said to me, Dayirai, I just wanted you to know that I use your book every single day to help me start my day. And I was like, okay, all right. They are people out there that are actually finding the book helpful, and that's all I can ever ask for, because it's practical. We all need life skills, and our children more than us, but whatever we can do to help them out, and then they can help the next generation, and it trickles down from there.
See, I see how it just talking about trickle. See how the words just trickle out of your mouth. You know what you're saying. You have some great knowledge behind it. You have skills. So use that. And I hope that you use this book to continue to build your platform, because there are some people who need to hear your words.
So show us the copy of the book again. And do you have any of the other books that you said that Dr. Royston helped you release? Living
Yes,
My Life
living life
Authentically.
authentically.
Okay, and what's the subhead on that? And interactive self-care and well-being workbook. Okay, all right. So that's that one. And then you have another one called Fearfully and Wonderfully Made. Okay, that's interesting. Now, I have a book called You're Wonderfully Made, and it's a book my
Really?
daughter and I wrote for teen girls.
Oh, wow. I would
Yeah.
love to read it.
Yeah, it's 12 life-changing principles that for teen girls to embrace. That's what that was about. So that's from the scripture. I know. It's
Yes.
so what did you put in your book about being fearfully and wonderfully made?
So this, I have my goddaughter. She is in England, and for her 8th birthday, excuse me, her mom shared with me how she had been struggling in school, just being different, her hair being different, skin color being different, and the other little kids coming and, really highlighting that. So I felt within my soul that I needed her to know and to just understand how beautiful she is and how worthy she is just by virtue of her just being. So that's where the scripture came. I wrote this initially as a nice little birthday gift for her, just to remind her that she is fearfully and wonderfully made. I've got Psalm 139, verse 14. I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. Don't forget to wear your smile today. And then it's more like a little workbook
That's
today.
It's
so
like
nice.
affirmations.
Yes, I
Yes,
love the
yes,
colors.
Mhm.
yes. So that's where that one was born from.
Well, so we were thinking along the same lines when we did our titles. It's something for girls who are tweens. I tell people the book works for tweens, definitely teens. And I've had a lot of youth groups use the book for youth conferences, and a lot of parents and grandparents buy the book for their teen daughters and granddaughters because it has practical things in it. Yours sounds more like yours maybe for younger girls.
Yes, so it was more the younger ones, you're talking about the 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, or
Yeah,
and more.
they need encouragement and reinforcement and love at all of those ages because society doesn't give Black girls the same kind of
Right.
positive feedback.
Yeah, not for men or women.
No, not right.
No.
Not for men.
Sometimes we as Black women are tougher on our Black girls than anybody else is.
Oh my goodness, it's not even sometimes.
Mhm.
It's something that we need to take a step back and really look at, because not only on our little girls, we're harder on each other, even as women, as adults, as women sometimes, and I don't know what that is, where that is rooted in, but yeah, I do agree, and we also tend to forget our boys in the process when we're talking about our little girls, but
Yeah.
our boys also need to be
Yeah,
nurtured and brought up. Like there's a lot of healing that needs to happen.
it is.
I
It is.
absolutely agree. Well, unfortunately, we've come to the top of the hour. So we have to end here, but if you can remind everybody how they can reach you and how they can find your book.
Okay, so Living My Life Authentically by Dayirai Kapfunde. You can find these on Amazon, Indigo, or even my website, Journeys of Life Counseling Services, Inc. And that's counseling with 2 L's.
Okay.
And I am in Edmonton, Canada. And it was really an honor meeting you both and sharing this space with you. Thank you so much.
But thank you for being here. You have a wonderful evening and God bless you on your journey.
You too. Bye.
Okay, good night. Well, Rhonda.
Well, Larry is here and Tracy's here. So we're gonna, while we're letting Tracy in, we're gonna let Larry say hi real quick and then he gotta go.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know why it's taking so long to. Okay, I don't know what Larry has going on, but we're gonna have to let Tracy in.
Yeah, let's let Tracy in, and then because we need to probably allow him to have his full time. So
Right. Well, he was just gonna say hi.
okay.
But,
Uh,
Larry, are you there? Okay. There's Larry. Okay, unmute real quick. Unmute.
I'm so used to doing
Hi,
it.
Tracy. Thank you for your
Tracy,
patience.
thank you. Yeah, thank you
Hello.
for your patience, and we are starting in less than 60 seconds.
All
Yes.
right.
Larry, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay, I'm sorry. We let you on for a minute because I know you were waiting and we just wanted you to say hello, but we have to start the next interview.
And we'll reschedule you, and then we'll
Yes.
need to do a pre-show tech check.
And I'm so sorry that everything got jumbled up there. And but I'm also happy to see a chance. Letter to My Young Brothers is the book for young brothers to help improve their educational life and their possibilities. And young brothers need a book like this to help motivate them and also to give them the kind of secrets that they need so that they can pass class, whether they're in the first grade or the 12th grade, by looking up the words and definitions of each grade level words in July or August 1st, studying those new words to be ready by the time school starts. And with that new vocabulary, walking into the classroom and understanding better what the teacher has to say.
Awesome. So what we're gonna do, Mr. Larry, is we'll still put your website in the chat. So if people want more information, but we do have to run to the next interview. But thank you so much for still coming out and trying and saying hello. We appreciate that. And we'll try to get you rescheduled.
We'll get you rescheduled. I'll reach out to you about rescheduling, okay?
Okay. Thank you very much, Gwen. Thank you very much. And I don't know your name. Oh, Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Your name is Tracy Clark. Thank you all.
All right. All right. Good night.
Good night. And
Yeah, sometimes, Tracy, welcome to the show. When you have a live show, anything can happen. That's what we tell people. So,
That's great.
sometimes it's normally seamless, but every now and then there's something that happens. I did, but before we get started,
live shows.
yeah, before we get started, I wanted to show you. I heard about you online. It came across my news feed on Facebook, and your books look interesting and right up my alley. And so I haven't read them yet, but I have both Hide and Fall.
Oh, great. Thank you. I appreciate
And I
that.
love your covers.
Yeah, and kind of nice, huh?
Yes.
3D. It has a 3D effect.
Yeah,
Really
kind of
neat.
nice.
Yeah. So tell us, Tracy, how did you get into writing crime fiction?
I don't know. I sort of always liked it, and I'm not sure where it started. I think it sort of started for me, maybe. I used to be that weird kid. Everybody's outside playing ball, whatever. I'm in the room with my grandmother watching those old black and white movies,
Yes.
The Thin Man, Boston Blackie. I mean, I was that kid at the bottom of her bed on that little quilt and watching these movies where everybody else is outside playing. So I think that's where it started. And then I guess when I started to read, I just sort of gravitated towards mysteries and crime novels, the Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew,
Yes.
things like that, Sherlock Holmes, Agatha Christie. And so I guess it sort of just bloomed like a flower. I got to the point where I actually wanted to write something for myself. And so I'm looking around for things that I might want to write. And of course, mysteries and crime fiction just sort of popped up. So that's how I got into it.
Okay, so what were some of the movies you watched? Just name a couple of the old movies that you watched.
Well, the old Maltese Falcon, the Thin Man series, Myrna Loy, Robert Powell. I mean, all of those, William Powell,
Okay.
all of those I used to watch. So, you know,
Okay.
I'm in there with a bowl of popcorn. Everybody's out there. And
Okay.
you know, I'm in there with my grandma and I'm watching some 1939 movies.
Okay, so Humphrey Bogart sounds like one of them.
Yeah, I kind of, yeah.
You sound like a movie aficionado.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. But then
Those old movies were good. I mean,
they were good.
Because they have to rely on dialogue
Mm-hmm.
to move the story. There's no special effects at all. There's nothing. The most special effects is like a car driving down the street fast. But they really, the acting and the story, the writing is just amazing on those old movies. So I still watch them from Turner Classic Movies.
Yep.
They show
Sunday
them.
afternoon, raining outside. I mean, come on. You can't get better than that.
Right?
So now what was your first book that got released? What was the name of it?
It was called Broken Places. I've got 2 series going. So the first one was a PI series set in Chicago. We've got an ex-homicide detective, female, African-American, her sole agency. She's a PI on her own, sort of working the gritty streets of Chicago. So that was the first one, Cass Rains. And then the second series, I've got an actual homicide detective and her homicide team, still set in Chicago because, you know, that's where I live. That's what I know.
Okay.
You know, so it's a different sort of end of the same sort of ball. So we've got Cass over here going loosey-goosey with the law. And then we've got this detective, this homicide detective who actually has to adhere to what the law says and sort of go step by step by step. So it was sort of a weird adjustment for me as the writer to sort of, you know, sort of make stuff up on this side and then have to sort of adhere to the procedure step by step. There are certain things that police officers do when they sort of come on that crime scene. They're not making things up as they go. There's a process. And so I had to sort of learn what that process was and sort of create this character within that process and still sort of give it some kind of life and something that sort of pulls readers in.
Well, they sounded, when I read them online, the synopsis sounded like, because I like mysteries as far as books. I also like action mysteries as far as movies, even the modern ones. I don't like all of the special effects because to me that's a lazy way to make a movie. To me, it's just, you know, where's the writing? Where's the acting? Where's the storyline?
You don't need all that when you've got explosions and car chases.
Right. So that's what I tend to like in terms of just even shows I will binge and watch. They tend to be. I just finished watching. I don't know if you've heard of Rabbit Hole.
I've heard about it. Yeah, I haven't seen it.
It's Kiefer Sutherland. Because 24 was one of my favorite shows. So I like, you know, espionage, but it's still mystery kind of. It's still the same sort of lane. And so, but I love reading books that are strong on characters. So I can't wait to get into yours. Now I think these two are they the same? See, Detective Harriet Foster. So which one came first?
High came first. That was the first one and followed as the second.
So okay, so this is the one I need to read first.
Oh, you don't have to. I mean, it depends on what kind of reader you are.
Yeah, this is series.
Right.
I like to start at the beginning because what happens is
we have to read them in order. You know, we have to understand the characters. Everything has to make sense to us.
Right.
And then the backstory, you miss the backstory if you don't start in book 1.
Good point. So you learned a lot about Harriet and Hyde and sort of figure out what her problem is. And that sort of carries through to the second one. So, yeah.
Exactly. So tell us about your process when it comes to planning these stories, because you can't just sit down and write a mystery or a crime novel. Everything has to still make sense. Everything has to be in a certain order. So how do you go about doing that?
Well, I sit down without a plan and I write the story. Okay, there are two camps. There are two kinds of writers. There are those writers who outline everything. They know exactly what's going to happen on page 5. They know what size shoe their characters wear. They know everything before they sit down at that laptop and write their story. And then there are the other ones like me, who we call pantsers, who sit down in front of a blank page or a blank laptop screen, and we peck out a story as we sort of come up to it, page by page, paragraph by paragraph, without a plan. We just go where we think the story and the characters go. And that's how I do it. So when I start a new story, I have nothing except maybe a spark of an idea. Maybe I know where the body is planted or how the first victim died. But that's about it. And so then I have to take my cast of characters, Harriet and her partner, and all of the homicide detectives who are in this journey with her, and figure out what they're going to do. That first crime scene, that's where I start, and that's where the story goes, and boom, we're gone. So whatever comes after that is a spark to me. It's new. I have absolutely no idea where it comes from, and hopefully by the end of it, it all pulls together. But the great thing about this is that I don't have to do it all in one chunk. So if I go to that first draft and sort of get a story down there, which sort of makes sense, I have an opportunity to go back and fix it and sort of massage it and make it great. So I can do that several times. So that's the great thing about writing. It's not something that you just spit out and that's it. It's gone.
Yes.
You can't do anything about it. You've got time to go back, think about it a little bit more, take what you've got and make it better.
So you call it a pantser?
Yep, pantser. Flying by the seat of your pants.
Oh, pantser. Okay.
I mean, come on.
Okay. Okay. Now, Rhonda and I are both authors as well. So I am, when it comes to fiction writing, which is not my strong suit, but I have 2 really good novels, if I just say so myself, that are mysteries, but I'm a pantser too.
There you go.
I have the spark, I have the general concept. And people who say they outline, I'd say God bless them, who have every chapter, they have an outline. I think that's great. That's not how I write.
Well, I'm somewhat of a pantser, but I still have to have a plan when I go in, but I don't teach people. When I teach my writing classes, I don't teach them pantsers because I feel like you have to have a certain level. I don't want to say talent, but you have to know what you're doing when you're going into if you're going to go into your story that way. So I don't teach them that way. I do teach them, okay, you might want to have an outline, but I don't tell them that it has to be formal. You don't need to do the Roman numeral 1 and then write this out in Roman numeral 2, ABC. You don't need to do all of that. But I do teach them how to at least have some type of a plan. Even if it's not formal, have a plan. And then if you wind up veering away from it, at least you had a place to start. That's usually what I teach people. But that's only because a lot of new people can't be pantsers, I don't think. I think they have to at least have some type of plan or outline or something in their minds before they sit down and write.
And they need some guidance. Now, when I do nonfiction, I have an outline because those are the chapters.
Yes.
It'll be like 12 chapters. It'll be a subject is 12 chapters, and all 12 chapters are supporting whatever the premise is for the book when it's nonfiction, when it's a research-based book. But with fiction, I can't predict where the story is going to go in advance because it kind of.
I always say my character is going to go left and he winds up going right. So
that's fine. I mean, I do that a million times in a book. I mean, I start out doing a scene that I think is going to go this way, and the characters have another plan in mind, and then I go that way, and it's usually something that's better than sort of So I think pantsers sort of have their own internal thing. Maybe our outliners in here. We don't write it down. We don't have pages that we can sort of refer to, but we've got this sort of thing in our head that sort of keeps us on the straight and narrow. We know when a story sort of veers off. We know when something is needed here as opposed to here. We can sort of feel it. And so we're just kind of those kinds of writers. I mean, there are all kinds of writers. No writer is the same. Everybody's got their own process. Everybody gets that to the end of that book, their own specific way. And you just have to sort of accept the writer that you are and go with it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and but different writing styles is what makes the work around. If you're an avid reader,
I agree.
You don't want to
Absolutely.
read the same style, the same type of book. Now, what made you, or if it was you, what made you do one-word titles?
It wasn't me.
Okay.
I come up with nice lyrical titles that I think sort of, and then
Okay.
you know the publishers have their own idea. Like they know they're the experts. They know what sells. They know where to put it. They know I don't know any of that stuff. I'm just the writer. And
Okay.
so they came up with the first one-word title, Hide, and then of course the series. So they sort of kept with that. So Fall for the second, and then
Okay.
for the third is going to be titled Echo. I mean, so apparently this one-word thing is my brand now. So
Signature.
I'm fine with it. I mean, that's you know, once the story is there, that's my part. The title and the book covers, and that's them. And you know, all the power to you. Go with it. Whatever works for you works for me.
Okay. Now, when you got your first book deal for, signed you for your first book, when was that? And especially when it's compared to these books that are coming out back to back.
Oh, I think it was, I can't remember. 2017 or 18, I think was my first Broken Places. And
Okay.
that was after 20 years of trying. So that was writing, rewriting, sending out query letters, getting rejected, saving the rejection letters, trying again, pulling it all to pieces and putting it back together again. I did that for over 20 years. And so when that first book deal sort of came about, I had the first one that I gave to them, but I had continued to write. So when they took that first one, I said, well, if you like that one, I've got two more in the drawer with these same characters in it. And they took all three. So that one first sell was a book of three. They took all three of them. And so, you know, that was off and running. So there I was. I had my series going. I didn't intend it to be a series when I first wrote that first one. It was just this character, this story. And then I was going to write something else because, you know, they weren't taking it. So by the time they took it, I had three, turned it into a series, kept going with that. And then now I have the second series too. So, you know, apparently, I guess series are my thing now. And I'm okay. I mean, I get to sort of write. I like exploring characters. I like sort of getting beneath the skin and sort of finding out what makes these people tick. I've given myself a really complicated African-American female detective that has a host of things that I can sort of dig into and pull out. She's not very talkative. She's very internalized. She does not, you know, she's not throwing, you know, parties for herself or balloons. Or, you know, she's very focused, very straight line. And it's wonderful to sort of figure out what makes her tick. I've given her a great amount of weight to carry. So in addition to those cases that she has to solve with her team, she's got some personal stuff that she's got to deal with. And I love sort of digging into that. So I'm sort of loving Harriet, sort of a love-hate relationship. I love sort of digging into it. I hate the fact that she does not talk to me a great deal, and I have to sort of dig for her, you know, but, you know, that's fun. That's what writers like to do, bring those characters out, make them engaging for readers. And so I'm on that journey with Harriet.
Okay.
Wow.
You're really
That you said a
enthusiastic
lot.
about it.
Huh?
No,
You're
I was
really-
just saying you said a lot in that. And so now that third book in the series, we're going to meet Harriet again in December of 2024.
Yep. So she'll be back. She's got a new case. It has to do with college hazing and murders that sort of are separated by 30 years. So she's got to figure all of that stuff out with her partners and her homicide team. And still set in Chicago, still my city.
Okay.
And you
Okay.
know, she's still at it.
So I was gonna. So all of your stories take place in Chicago.
Yep, that's what I mean.
And people say
This is
right
my
what you know.
this
So
is my patch.
people say right what you know. So what has been? Well, we've been doing this for almost 4 years, and it seems like in the last few months I've been seeing your books. Like before then, I didn't see them, and now I see them everywhere.
Good. All right, I'm not complaining.
And you know, we make a concerted effort to look for whatever's coming out, new releases and all that. And so kudos to whoever does your publicity or for just the word getting out from people reading it. I had a book club reach out to me that said they were going to be watching the show, that they were currently reading your book.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
That's
so
great. Wonderful.
one of
Thank
them.
you.
Yeah, so what would you consider to be like your, I won't say your big break, but I know you said you worked on the first book for 20 years and then it
Mhm.
finally broke through.
Mhm.
But why do you think the timing was right for the book when it did get picked up? Do you have a sense of that?
I don't know. I think you just sort of are there. You keep working until your shot comes. That 20 years was a long time, a long span. And I got frustrated along the way and wanted to quit along the way. And actually, at one point, I had put the manuscript away for like 2 years and didn't touch it. But there's always that sort of nagging thing that sort of lets you know that this is your thing and you have to keep doing it. So I took the thing out of the drawer after 2 years and I started again. And you just have to sort of keep doing that until your shot comes up. You only need one yes. You only need one agent, one editor, one publishing house. And if you give up halfway through that, you never know if you could have made it. So you just have to keep at it. I just kept plugging away until that one shot came, and then I was sort of off to the races. Then it becomes a job, right? Writing for fun is different from writing for people who actually
Right,
looking for.
right, whether you like it or not, you have to
Right,
make a deadline.
before I had all the time in the world, they could have taken,
Right.
whatever. I
And
mean,
you have a
now
deadline.
now they want that sucker every year. I mean, so I have a deadline that has to be there. Can't make excuses about it. They want their stuff so they can do their thing. And so then you get sort of in a different place, right? So it's still fun, sort of, most days. And, there's some days that aren't not so fun. But now it's the business. And so you have to sort of get into that business rhythm and sort of do what you need to do when you need to do it and still have fun sort of along the way. So,
Do you know
it's
what
all
that
good.
one thing was that finally motivated you to pull the manuscript out after 2 years?
Just pigheadedness and just a stubbornness and not wanting to let it go. I sort of had the feeling inside of me that I had something. I may not have been where I needed to be or had learned everything that I needed to learn, but I knew there was something there that if I just kept at it, I'd probably get it, but it's hard. It's sort of hard to sort of keep yourself sustained after 20 some years. You're seeing everybody else get published. You're reading the books, they're not so good. I mean, you're looking at it and you said, well, why not me? Why them, not me? And it's just, everybody's got that specific journey, that specific thing they've got to do. I had to learn what I needed to learn. It took as long as it was going to take. And then you see what else you can do. So, I'm not mad about it. It wasn't wasted 20 years. I mean, I was learning as I went. All of those 20 years, I was learning and taking classes and figuring out what I didn't know and trying to fix it and moving it this way and that. And, finally sort of like breaking through a cloud or something. That's your
Well,
spot. That's your time. There you go. You're ready for it because you took those 20 years and didn't stop and kept learning and kept teaching yourself and you got it done.
well, this is an illustration of your motivational message. If you want to
Yeah.
write
Right.
all the time, write until you get better.
Absolutely.
And being persistent.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
a lot of people quit, too soon. And
Mhm.
if you quit, your blessing might be right around the corner, and you quit right before you turned it, right
And
before
you,
you
you,
turned the
you
corner.
cannot be sort of scared of the rejections because you're gonna get rejections. And
Oh, it's
just
gonna happen.
know,
Yes.
just know going in, before you even start, that you're gonna get that pile of rejection letters. And now this decision becomes, what are you gonna do about that? Are you gonna stop and let
Mhm.
those rejection letters sort of kill your dream? Or are you gonna take those rejection letters, put them aside like I did, pile them up, and I had quite a file after those 20 some years, and just keep going. And that's what you have to do.
Well,
Amen.
while you were waiting over the 20-year period, were you published anywhere else? Like, were you doing short stories or
Now, I
like?
wrote one, I wrote one short story just to test myself, right? I'm not really a good short story writer, but I wrote one just to see if I could sort of write a story, beginning, middle, and end. I did it. It's all right. I figured if I can do that, I can write a novel. Who in their right mind makes that adjustment? I mean, but anyway, I wrote that one short story. I said, oh, that wasn't so bad. And so I went into the big thing, and frustration after frustration, teaching myself how to do it, taking every class I could possibly take, going to mystery conferences, schlepping all the way up to the north side of Chicago on a Saturday from 9 to 5, panel after panel, class after class on dialogue and pacing and character development. All of that stuff I did for years. And I was teaching myself. I'd go back home and write again and see if I could sort of apply some of that. And I did that until I got better at it. And it's kind of like priming a pump for water. The more you prime it, the more you pump it, the more water comes out. And so that's kind of what my path was. Just sort of taking those rejection letters, not accepting them, knowing that I had something there, and then practicing, learning, teaching myself, taking everything at every advantage or opportunity that I could take, and then seeing what I could do with it. So you have to kind of keep yourself up there and in the game and until your shot comes.
Yeah, stick to itiveness is
Yep.
That's
that's
exactly
a
what it is.
watchword. Now, what were you doing for your day job, or what's your profession other than writing?
I
books?
was an editor for a newspaper company, so I would during the day I would write edit op-eds and comic strips and puzzles and stuff like that. And my lunch hour was my writing time. So I had that 60 minutes. That's all I had during the day. I would take my little laptop and my lunch, my microwavable lunch, into a quiet little room, and I would write for 60 minutes. That was my writing time. And then I'd swivel back and I'd do the rest of my day. And that's what I did for many years. And that was what I was doing when I got that first book deal. I was at my job, and the email popped into my little thing, blip, and said, "Would you let me represent you, the agent?" I said, "Heck yeah." I mean, after 20 some years, why would you ask? Anyway, see, absolutely. So there I was. So there I was. I was editing something, and this email popped up after 20 some odd years of rejection and whatnot. And now I had my agent. And that agent took my little manuscript, my little 3 little books that I had. And about a month later, I had a publishing deal with Kensington. After 20 some years to have it happen that fast, it's just absolutely mind boggling. But, when your shot comes, your shot comes. And maybe that time 5 years ago was not my time, but this one was. And so you have to be in it to win it. You have to be there when that opportunity comes, when that one yes comes in. And hopefully, I hoped that all the work I had done for those 20 barren years was going to pay off in the end. And I think it did, because I didn't stop. I continued to sort of learn what I did not know, because I knew it was a lot of things that I didn't know, but I sort of taught myself that and found the information wherever I could find it. And so when that shot came, I was kind of ready for it. I knew what I needed to know. The books I thought were good. They're not perfect. No book is. But every writer, I think, sort of strives for the next one to sort of get better and better and better. And hopefully 5 years from now, I will be better than I am today. And 10 years after that, I will be better than I am 5 years ago. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to have a long writing career, and fingers crossed, and we'll see what goes.
I love that. And I know we only have about a minute left. If you could take just a few seconds, because I feel like a lot of your motivation probably came from the group that you're in, the Crime Writers of Color.
Absolutely.
If you want to take a few seconds to maybe mention that.
You know what? Writers have a community, and Crime Writers of Color is our community. It's a family. I think we've got more than like 350 members at this point, all genres. We've got PI novels and Southern noir and cozies and all the rest of that. But this is the spot where we can sort of come and sort of support each other, commiserate when things don't go bad, cheer for you when you've got that deal or that wonderful book deal or that whatever, that movie option. We're there. We're that sort of nucleus of people who are cheering you on and supporting you and advocating for your work. We're blurbing each other's stuff. They're doing so we're there in this big community of crime writers. We're this other little community within that community. And we are there for each other, and I absolutely love it. I was there from the beginning. I'll be there till the end, and I think we're doing some good stuff.
Oh, wow.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. And
I have your book, so I'm showing the covers again.
Yeah, I really hope that people were listening, because this was
let
a
me know.
masterclass tonight. This was a masterclass.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. So thank you so much for being a guest on Black Authors Matter TV and continued success. And once I finish, at least once I finish high, because that's the first, right?
Yep.
Okay. I will reach out to you.
Okay, let me know.
Post a review.
All right.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
All right, you have a great night. Thanks
You
again.
too.
God bless
Thanks for
you.
having me.
Okay,
Take
you're
care.
welcome.
Bye-bye.
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 Okay, so we are now moving to our last guest.
And
from
before we do that, while we're bringing her on, if you all would like to like and share, we're toward the end of the show, but like, share, and comment about the show.
Because
Also,
I tell y'all that every week. I said like, share, and comment, and y'all don't like to listen to me. So
well, a few people do. But what I like for people to do who are watching, put where you're joining us from. And even if you're watching this show, if you're watching the playback of the show, list in the comments where you're joining us from, because we want to know where our viewers are all over the world. So,
absolutely.
So we have our final guest, and Rhonda's going to introduce her.
Yes, I would like to present to you Miss Katrina Brooks from Black Pearl Books. Oh, that rhymed. I like that. Good evening and welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Good evening. Thank you. Happy to be here.
We're happy to have you. So tell us about you.
Well, I am the founder and co-owner of Black Pearl Books. We are Black woman-owned independent bookstore in Austin, Texas. We are the only Black bookstore in Austin.
Wow.
Yep. And our mission is to promote diversity, inclusion, and representation through literature. So in a nutshell, that's who we are.
And
wow.
when did you open?
What year did I open? So I started operating in November of 2019, but I actually started doing pop-ups and markets. And I did that for about 4 months before everything shut down because of COVID and
Right.
we weren't doing any markets or any outdoor activities. I had an online store though that I had already gotten up and going. And so I switched everything to online. So although I wasn't doing markets, I was able to still utilize my online store. And of course, with George Floyd and, the social justice movement and all the things that were happening in the summer of 2020.
People were clamoring for those books.
Exactly. And so the month of June, like literally within a 30-day time frame, we got over 10,000 online orders. And that's just orders, not, many orders had 2 to 3 books. But we had, this influx of online orders. And so operating out of our home, our garage ended up being like a distribution warehouse. We were getting pallets of books. And so I had just started the business. It was me. Luckily, it was summer. So my kids were home. They were middle school at that age. So they were home to help out, had some friends come over, but it was still in the middle of COVID. So we were really limited to the number of people that, we could have come help. But I will say that was a success of, with all the tragedy that happened during that summer. It was a success story for us. It really catapulted our business. We went from starting doing pop-ups and markets to what I call a long-term pop-up. We were subleasing about 200 square feet in a nonprofit for about a year. And then we moved from there and we've been in our current location for 2 years. So we've seen a lot of growth in the last 4 years of business.
Well, what's interesting to me is that you started this prior to COVID. You started in November of 2019. So what made you, because I understand what inspired it in 2020. A lot of bookstores opened in 2020 because there was such a boom of people wanting Black stories. But in 2019, what made you decide that I'm going to be the first in this area where there are no other Black bookstores?
Yep. So honestly, I like to think of it as it was this, I won't say it was a lifelong dream, but it was a work in progress. So as a mother, I mentioned I have 2 children. That was always at the forefront of my mind. Like, education was something that we constantly pushed in our household, and reading was a part of that. And so there was always this concerted effort from the time they were babies to find books that showed representation, and although they read all kinds of books. I mean, we were always in the library or bookstores. So although they read all types of things, it was really important for me to make sure that they were exposed to characters, one, that looked like them, and then 2, just the greatness of Black people, like, our stories. And that was very difficult to find. And so fast forward of doing this for, out of 12, 13 years at this point, it really was just like this aha moment of, not every child has someone pushing them, or making sure that they are exposed, making sure that they do see themselves. And so I like to say, like, there were seeds being planted all along. And then in 2019, it was just kind of this aha moment. And it was like, this is needed. This is needed right now, and that really was the push for opening the store. Yeah.
How is the reception been? Since 2020 has ended, things are getting back to normal. Now we have more options. People are getting out more. How's the reception been for your bookstore since then?
It's been great. I mean, we've continued to grow. It definitely is a difference. So yes, in 2020, everyone was like clamoring for anti-racism. I want to read, I want to educate myself. And I mean, as you can imagine, it's not a surprise that has, you see this spike and then it falls off, right? Because, and I had no thoughts that was going to be sustainable. You know how society works, right? It's what's here, what's now, and then, oh, I forgot about that, I'm on to the next thing. So even then, with our customers, we started relationship building and really talking about, like, even when they would come in and say, hey, can you recommend a book? It was always a conversation about, okay, here's your starting point, but what's next? Like, that's great for you to read a book on anti-racism, but what's next? And so, like, it can't stop there. And so I will say, like, we have a really amazing group of customers that have been following us since the beginning, that have been ordering with us before we even had a physical location. And then we, are always exposed to new people. With us being the only one in Austin, it has been received extremely well. We get a lot of people coming in that are visiting, that are intentional about looking for Black-owned bookstores to visit. We have, our local community that comes in looking for that. One of the other great things about Austin is they are very much into independent. And so for some people, it's not so much about us being a Black-owned bookstore as much as it is being an independent bookstore. They don't want to go to the big box stores or online. Like, they want us to stay around. They want us in the community, And so again, it's about being intentional with your dollars. And so we've been received very well. Like I said, we've continued to grow. We've continued to develop relationships within the community, and it's been good. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Now, where'd your name come from? Black Pearl. What made you?
Black Pearl. Yeah. So, I kind of started with a list of names that, were possibilities. I think ultimately just what a Black Pearl represents, obviously it's Black. So culturally, the endurance of it, the strife, the rareness, I think all of those things symbolize who we are. So it was, it made sense. It made sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
Pearl is quite rare, and it's quite.
yes, it is.
I love
And valuable.
Yes,
and
that's very
valuable. Exactly, exactly. And I felt like that's what we have to offer. That's what we had to offer. So
Yeah, a lot of bookstores have said the same thing about 2020 in terms of having a rush of sales, of
yeah.
orders, and customers intentionally buying from a Black bookstore.
Yeah.
And it lasted about 6 months or so in there. And some survived it and some didn't. It,
Absolutely. Yeah.
but you can't build too much overhead and infrastructure for something that's a boomlet, because then you're stuck
Right.
with the overhead and
Yep.
or the inventory that or both. And so some people didn't realize it was a boomlet.
Right, right, right. And that's the thing. Like, I think you do. So I come from a business background. I think sometimes when people creatives have an idea or a passion, and that's what you follow. And so you're like, I have a passion. I can't tell you how many people have said, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to open a bookstore. Like, that's my dream, And while I think, like, I'm like, oh, I don't know if you want to do that. It's not it's not the most lucrative dream.
You're doing it to get rich. That's not a good motivation.
That
Because
is
you'll be
not.
disappointed.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. But just coming from, I worked in a corporate environment most of my career, and so just having that background, I had an understanding of business, and in about a year after I opened, my husband came on board with me. So, and he came from a corporate background. So between the two of us, like we our strengths are different, but they complement each other. And so yes, you're right. I think you have to be very cautious when you're opening a new business, any business. But the bookstore industry is very different than other retail businesses. But yes, you definitely have to be cautious. You have to understand like overhead and inventory and not get in too deep, because you want to set yourself up for success, and you can't always depend on customers walking through the door. So,
Yeah.
so. With that being said, though, do do you have events at your store that do bring people into the store?
we do. We have author events in the store. A lot of what we do is community focused, though. We have a lot of community events um, where we go out and do partnerships. But we have online sales. So we ship throughout the US. So we get orders from like all over the place. So that makes up a portion of our business. And then we actually, we have our walk-in traffic. We have our customers who order online and pick up in store. So that's a segment of our business. And then, yes, we do events. And then we also rent the space for events. And so people will have birthday parties or, just kind of different activities or different events after hours. And so we utilize the space for that as well. So we have a few different ways that we utilize the space to generate income. Yeah.
Different streams of revenue is important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my husband and I had a brick and mortar bookstore for 10 years. So
Okay.
yeah, I understand. We started off online. And
Okay.
we both were in the business, and we both had different skill sets. So when you were talking about that, and so it's good to
Resonated.
complement. If you're working together, it's good if your skill sets complement each other, and there's less conflict because you're not competing, and you really aren't even in the same space necessarily, even if you are in the same building, because you're
Right.
working on different things.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Where was your store?
Houston. That's where I live. That's where the show comes from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the store was in
Okay.
Houston, and we started the National Black Book Festival. So the store was from 2000 to 2010.
Okay.
We started the National Black Book Festival in 2007. So we still had the store open, but our focus turned to more marketing for authors and
Right.
the retail became like
secondary.
lower and lower and lower across
Mhm.
our business to almost down to zero. And so what we do is we do marketing promotion for authors. We do the National Black Book Festival every October.
Okay.
And, you know, we do this show now. This show came out of COVID. This show started in July of
Oh.
2020 because of COVID.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
because
it
we
was a
did the festival and
uh-huh.
it took off immediately. So the show, we've interviewed over 600 people. We celebrated our 600th guest a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, so we do that. And so
That's awesome.
we try to keep our ear to the ground, stay relevant, stay on top of what's new, trends in the industry, new authors. Some authors, you know, have been around forever. You know, some authors were around when we first opened our store, and they're still writing.
And they're still,
You know,
yeah.
they're still writing. But then
Mhm.
others, you know, they come, they go. This is the
They
nature of
come
it.
and go.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's, you know, and so you will understand as a bookseller, I think as a Black bookseller, as a Black author, as any Black in this publishing space, it's difficult, right? And so that is amazing that you guys are doing this and focusing on Black authors to, you know, have them get their shine, have them as a way for them to get their material out, you know, and people to be aware of them, because it's difficult. That we definitely don't get the same you know, benefits.
For some
Exposure
authors,
and
this is their
everything.
biggest platform.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah. That is so great, man.
Yeah. Every Tuesday since July of 2020, with very few exceptions.
Uh-huh.
Very few, like one, so
Yeah.
maybe 2 times a year we don't have the show. The
Okay.
holidays, but we have the show every single
But you
Tuesday.
have the show, yeah.
Yeah,
And so
we've
what
always
started
been a co-author. We've always been a co-author from day one. We did.
okay.
We thought when we first started, we thought we were going to be switching off, like me 1 week and her 1 week.
Right.
But when we did the first show,
We just
that
played
was
off
It
each
it.
other,
worked.
you know.
It worked. Yes. Yes. And what started as a need, like it, you know, you did this because you couldn't do the festival
Right.
because of, you know, a
Oh,
pandemic. So it started out that way, but look how far it's gone, you know, like the longevity of it. Like, that's amazing.
yeah.
We
Sometimes
met some great
surprise
people
stuff.
through this show.
We all, you know, from all walks of life, and you know, top authors, debut authors, everything
Okay.
in between. We have more. We've had at least 20 bookstores on the show over the years.
Oh,
At least
wow.
20.
Okay.
If I had to add them up, it might be 30. It's been a lot.
Yeah.
We have book clubs that come
Okay.
on. We have publishers come on, publicists, people that have book projects like nonprofits with book
Okay.
projects. Anybody in the book space,
In the book space you talked to.
we talk to them. And
Yes.
we even talk to non-Black people that have a book that's about Black people. So we've had some great guests who weren't Black.
Who weren't Black, yes. Well, we carry same thing. We carry non-Black books in our store, right?
Are you all carrying the book American Sirens?
Yes.
That was the author we had on. We had him on about, I want to say 2 months ago, about the
Okay.
paramedics. The first paramedics in America were Black. And
Yes. So interestingly enough, there was a conference last year here, and he was the guest speaker, and I went as the bookseller for the conference. And so I met him.
okay.
Yes. And
Hazard,
you know,
his
he was
last name.
autographing it. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
It's a small world.
Yep.
But we are, you know, and we don't apologize for it. I've had you know, every now and then some snarky racist will put in the comments why, you know, this is racist to have a Black, you know, either the National Black Book Festival or Black Authors Matter TV, and I just block them and ban them, but and delete their messages. But it's important for us to have our own platforms. because we can't, if we sit around and wait for some shine or pub somewhere else, it's not coming.
It's not
I
going
mean,
to happen.
it's not
Right.
going to happen. So
No, it's not
we
going
need
to
to have
happen.
our own spaces. We don't apologize for it.
Right.
And we like I said, we have non-Black people on if their subject matter is about
Right.
Black people.
Like Black
So,
people, right?
yeah,
Right.
we
Yeah.
do
And
that.
I think historically that's what we've always been able to do, is create our own space when we weren't allowed or weren't accepted into other spaces.
Yeah,
Right.
You know,
we're very good at doing that.
absolutely, absolutely. And it's necessary. I mean, if we don't, then we don't survive, right? Like,
Right, we don't, because only a handful of Black authors get pub. You
yeah,
know, to get the limelight, the exposure. They'll get
yeah,
mentions on shows. They'll get a book club, a national book club reading their book.
yeah,
It's a handful of people.
yeah.
And so what about the rest of the
What
people?
about the rest? Right. And then they become irrelevant, right? And that's
Right. And they won't
yeah.
survive. You know, you can't sell books if you can't get exposure. That's just, and only, you know,
That's it.
Won't happen.
people can't go, not everybody can go riding around and trying to sell books out of the trunk of your car. That was real popular when we first opened our bookstore. So many people were doing that, just selling books on the street. And because
Really?
there was a lot, they were selling books out of the trunk of their car, especially like in New York, where
Wow.
because Quan got his start selling books on the street with a table, selling books on the street. That's how he got started.
Wow.
So now he's got like 40 books, and he's been on the show a few times. And he's also been a featured author at the book festival. He's going to be there this year. So
Okay. What are the dates of the book festival?
October 17th through the 19th.
17th.
It's
through
a
the
weekend,
19th.
but we start
Okay.
Thursday night, and then that's the opening reception, and then we do all day Friday, all day Saturday.
Okay.
So
I'll
we'd love
check it
you
out.
to
That's
come
sweet.
if you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know those are,
Awesome.
you might need to be open yourself at your store, but we would love to see you there. And I might be, me and our team,
Mhm.
we're planning to be at the Texas Book Festival in Austin.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like November. Do
I'm
you
sorry.
do you participate in that event?
We don't. We don't participate in it in the sense of like having a booth space there. We do attend. So like Saturday we're open. Sundays, like this past one, we went on Sunday. We do some things with them. So they have this program where the authors come in and visit schools. And so we will provide books for the schools, and but that's not a visible on-site type thing, but we do have a relationship with the Texas Book Festival. One of the other things that we do is it depends on what night, but usually the evening before it starts, we have a Black authors meetup at our store. So
Okay.
that's a lot of fun, and we get a really good turnout. Authors love it because it really is just low key, like meet and greet, hang out. We, have like last year we had a bar there, like a bartender. And so it was a lot of fun. So we have a relationship with them. We do some things around it, but we don't have like a booth or anything like that at the Texas Book Festival. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
what we're planning to do is, because we still operate under our CushCity.com umbrella for everything, which is our bookstore's name. That was our online bookstore, the physical bookstore. We still operate under that.
What was the name of it? What's the name of it?
CushCity.com, CushCity. And so we still order from Ingram because we still have customers that buy books from us, even though we haven't had a bookstore since 2010.
That's awesome.
So we're going to, I'm going as an author because I have 15 books. And so I have the managers that are with the book festival, they're all authors too.
Okay.
So we're going to get a booth under Cush City and have our books there and share the cost. Because it's really expensive. Their booths are quite expensive.
Yeah. They are. And for us, it just doesn't make any, I mean, there are other local bookstores that are there, that we know, and we stop and visit their booths and say, hey, but it just doesn't make sense for us. And we'd have to close our store on Saturday. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Right. But we're all bringing our own books to sell. So
right.
But
okay.
if it's going to be 6 of us, I think, maybe 7.
Okay.
So we're just going to come and share the cost. So it
Yes.
makes it really affordable for each person.
That makes it affordable. Yeah. Well, I will, we get a chance to go next year, or this year, I guess it is now. I will definitely check you out. But when you're in town, please stop by our store. We'd love to have you in and, sit and chat and meet the other authors. So.
Okay. Well, I will definitely reach out to you before we go, so we can arrange everything and make sure I think it's like the middle of November this year. So it's like,
okay. I don't know the dates. It's always, and sometimes it's like the first weekend in November. Yeah.
But this year is not. It's like the 15th or 17th, or it's in there. It's in the middle of the month. Because it's a month after ours. So ours is October 17th to the 19th, and it's a month.
It's like that next week, right? A month that weekend. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a lot of space in between. Well, Katrina, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. Let's see. Oh, I have one more question. Where in Austin is your store? Is it downtown? Is it a mall? Is it?
So it's in North Central Austin. Is the area? Yeah. The address is 7112 Burnett Road.
Okay.
But it's considered North Central Austin. Yep. So.
Okay.
Please stop in. Listeners, please stop in. One of the other things I do want to mention before we get off is we also have a nonprofit called Put It in a Book. And so I mentioned like our, a lot of our community partnerships. We do a lot through our nonprofit as well. So we have Black Pearl Books, which is our for-profit business, but we have a nonprofit that works alongside the bookstore. Yeah.
Okay.
And we can find information about the nonprofit on your website?
On our website, absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, we did put the link to the website in the chat. So everybody who's in the Austin area, the greater Austin area, make sure you go to the website and then actually visit the store and say hello.
Yeah, please do. And when you come in, let me know you saw me on Black Authors Matter. So I love that.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
For sure.
It's a little later where I am because I'm in the DMV.
Okay.
So it's 10 o'clock here, but it's 9 o'clock where you are. So if you're like me, you probably would have been in bed by now anyway. So I appreciate you being the last one on the show, closing the show out, and just chatting it up with us. Congratulations on all you've accomplished with Black Pearl Books.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You have a great night.
You do the same. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so that is the end of another episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I had a good time. Did you have a good time, Gwen?
It was awesome. We had a great guest, and even Larry popped in. And I'm gonna have
There's somebody named Joe. You know anybody named Joseph?
No.
Okay, he's in the waiting room.
But that might be from.
That might be one of their friends.
Remember?
Yeah.
So we next week we have Rashonda Tate Billingsley, or Rashonda Tate. Let me correct myself. She's dropped the Billingsley with her new book, The Queen of Sugar Hill. And same night we have Vanessa Miller with her book, The African Queen, next Tuesday night. So be sure to tune in and tell your friends about the show so they can tune in too. So thank you for tuning in once again, and we'll see you next Tuesday night. And that's it for us. I'm Gwen Richardson signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week.
Thank you for tuning in, and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.